You're watching the Sports Central Showdown.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Sports Central Showdown. I'm Alex Hutton, turning things around for this episode, going from debating to hosting, joined by my good friends Graham Metzker from ESPN Plus and from CBS-LA, and Jill Lopez, play-by-play announcer for the CSUN women's basketball team, also a friend of ours here at CBS-LA. Today, debating another big topic in sports: who is the GOAT of the WNBA? Graham, I'm going to start with you. Who have you got for this one?
Well, Alex, I was actually surprised with what I found when I went into the research books and I crunched the numbers, because I was expecting to give some love to some of the icons that started the W, some that really made it competitive in their era a few decades ago. But what I found, and I'm excited to proclaim to the world, is that A'ja Wilson is the GOAT of the WNBA already, and she's only going to keep improving her resume. Let's talk about that resume really quick. In her 9th season right now, already a 3-time champion. She's got the most MVP awards in WNBA history. That's 4 of them, including back-to-back the last 2 seasons, looking like she's coming through pretty strong for a 3-peat. 2 times final MVP, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Now, let's put that in NBA terms. There's only 2 NBA players in the league's history with multiple championships and multiple Defensive Players of the Year. That's Hakeem and Kawhi Leonard. So that lets you know the defense that she brings, but she's also an elite scorer. Just in this last postseason run, she put up the most points ever in a playoffs run and the most points ever in a finals run. She holds the record for the most points in a single season. She's the only WNBA player to score more than 1,000 points in a single season. So now we're talking about this blend of a defensive dominator and the offensive engine that can power multiple different iterations of a championship team. And that's a level of player that is above really anything that we've seen in the NBA, just with that combination of domination on both sides of the ball. She came into the league with such incredibly high expectations. She was a #1 overall pick, a champion in college, and she has met it every single time. She was an all-star every single year except for 2020. And that year, she went on to win the finals and didn't score less than 18 points at all in that playoff run. She's only 29. She's just entering the prime of her career. I didn't realize it, but guys, A'ja Wilson is already there. She's already got the most rings. She's going to add more and catch up in the blocks department, catch up in the rebounds, all-time points scoring. She's only going to continue to increase that. So I'm going to stamp it right now. A'ja's the GOAT.
Jill, those are some pretty compelling arguments, but I sense you may have a different take on this one. Who do you have?
I do. I got to go with one of the OGs. There's a lot of people that you could consider. It's not like there's one clear-cut answer. And I love A'ja Wilson, and certainly she is one of the current, GOATs for sure. But you got to go back to the OG Lisa Leslie, who played here in Los Angeles. She got people to care about women's professional basketball in the U.S. She was one of them that started it all. She and Cynthia Cooper is another one that you could, kind of claim as one of those. But Lisa Leslie won a couple of championships, has her jersey retired. Just going to go through a few of her accolades: a 2-time WNBA championship, as we mentioned, 2-time WNBA Finals MVP, 3-time WNBA MVP, 8-time WNBA All-Star. We can go on and on in both Hall of Fames, the Naismith and Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, 4 Olympic gold medals. I mean, here's the other thing about her. She could score. She was so difficult to stop. It's like, what team in the WNBA had somebody that could defend her? It was very difficult. And here's the thing. She crossed culture. I mean, she was culturally impressive in that it's not just about basketball. She was an actress. She was also a model. She did so many different things that you didn't just get basketball fans at games. You got people who were a fan of her. So Lisa Leslie had just such a big following. She did it in the City of Angels. And I just think because she helped start it all, you can't forget about her.
You both kind of touched on something, which is, the OGs, the trailblazers, the ones who set the path for the place that women's basketball is in today. That makes me go even further back. Someone like a Cheryl Miller or a Lucia Harris, these people who maybe didn't get the same WNBA opportunity as these players you're referring to. So for someone like those who didn't have those career accolades because they just didn't get the chance, how do you factor that in to the sort of larger debate of the GOAT of women's basketball?
Well, I mean, well, if you're talking about the WNBA in terms of the GOAT, I think you have to go with somebody who has played in the WNBA, made their mark here in the US. Now, if you start talking about the GOAT of women's basketball, it's just hard to quantify. Cheryl Miller, of course, had a great collegiate career. She's absolutely amazing. I mean, her own brother, Reggie, will tell you she's the MVP of their household and the GOAT. So it's kind of hard to quantify when you don't have these kind of WNBA statistics that Graham and I are spouting off here. So it's difficult, but she's also an OG.
Alex, it's gonna start to become like how we talk about the NBA as we get to add more fantastic chapters in the book that is women's basketball. Let's also shout out Ann Myers Drysdale, playing on the men's team. So many legends to touch on. Of course, I also want to shout out to the ones I grew up on, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Diana hooping in Pasadena coming up. Got to shout out a local legend. But I think as the league grows, we get more of a historical basis. We build this statistical background that all of a sudden, when we see the amazing work that Asia is putting in, and we're starting to have more numbers and statistics talk because we have that history to back it up, Asia Wilson's case is going to become irrefutable. Just compared with Lisa Leslie, Asia has one more MVP, one more DPOY, one more ring. Asia's 14th in all-time scoring. Lisa's 15th all-time scoring, despite playing about 2 less seasons. If Asia was right here, she would shout out the OG. So I do want to respect that. And there would be no place for Asia, and there would be no W without those ones that played without it being there. But for today's conversation, I'm going to give it to A1 since day one. And, she wasn't the one that sparked this next wave of huge WNBA popularity that, that's Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers are kind of the face, AZ Fudd, the face of that next wave. But the people that came to watch them ended up watching Asia Wilson win a bunch of championships.
Asia's about to get another ring because we saw Bam Adebayo talking about how they're going to get engaged, and you have to wonder, will she miss a year or two and have a baby? Which brings me up to 2 things. Candace Parker, I remember when she had her daughter very young, and she was, I remember interviewing her in her first game back, and she had her breast pump in her locker, 3-5 weeks after having a baby. I mean, you talk about an OG, an absolute superstar. So we can't forget about Candace Parker here as well, who has 3 titles. But what about Maya Moore? I contend that if she didn't retire at 29 after having won 4 titles already, she might be the one that we're talking about. I mean, you still have to give her great consideration to be on the list, but she retired at 29 years old. Obviously, we know social justice reform, and she went on to a career. Obviously, such a smart woman. So I bet she contends that what she's done off the court is bigger than what she did on it. But the career she had at UConn and then in the WNBA, again, we could be talking about her had she, played well into her 30s.
We're going to wrap this one up. You've both been here before. You know the drill. The shot clock, 24 final seconds to make your last case for your pick. Jill, I'm going to go with you first. 24 seconds on the clock. Let's hear it.
Lisa Leslie, the OG, started in the inaugural season with the Sparks. She put banners up there. Her jersey's retired. She's in the Hall of Fame. She made people care about women's professional basketball. Everybody, whether you're a basketball fan or not, cultural icon as well. Going with Lisa Leslie.
Asia is just undeniable, from her signature kicks with the Nike swooshes to the swag she got off the court. We love all the jokes. She says she only sees the commissioner when she's getting awards. She's got that undeniable confidence. She's got 3 of the 5 highest scoring seasons in WNBA history. She's only 29. She's going to add a few more. I'm just calling it now, and I'm excited to see the GOAT case play out.
Love it. Love having these conversations. Love just naming as many athletes as we can. Shout out to all these players who have brought women's basketball
For
to
real.
where it is today. For those of you watching, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Sports Central Showdown.
You're watching the Sports Central Showdown.